Today we are back to Macbeth, Act 2, Scene 4. We have seen in the previous scene that how Macbeth tells Donalbain and Malcolm, your royal fathers murdered. And after that, both Donalbain and Malcolm flee to England and Ireland. So now let us see what happens after this horrifying, cruel deed has been done. Enter Ross and an old man. So here, usually after a great disastrous scene, we saw that there was a prelude of a comic relief, and now we have a calming session. This is almost as if the artist, Shakespeare himself, wants this fact to sink into his audience that this death has taken place. It is shocking, indeed, it is shocking, but now we need to come to terms with it. And so there is a softening, a calming scene where two people are walking in the street and they are talking to each other about what has happened. Enter Ross and an old man. Old man, threescore and 10, I can remember well, within the volume of which time I have seen hours dreadful and things strange, but this sore night hath trifled for my knowledge. So this old man, he says, I am threescore and 10. He is an really old, about 80 years old man, and says that I have seen so many things in my life, both happy and I have seen disruption, I have seen battles, yet everything seems trifle or trivial in comparison to what I have seen today. So this scene is to show us, to give us a perspective. Ross is another one of the themes. Our good Father, thou seest the heavens, as troubled with man's act, threaten his bloody stage. By the clock 'tis day, and yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. Isn't night's predominance or the day's shame? So here Ross the Thane is addressing this man as a good father. It, it can be his own father or it is just an older man to whom he is paying respect. And he is saying that the very heavens and the earth itself, the very cosmos is disturbed by this act. So again and again, Shakespeare is stressing on the divine right of the king. He is ordained by God that on his murder, the very heavens will show forth their fury and anger. So he says it is still day, but it is looking like the night. It is so dark and scary and eerie. Yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. Isn't night's predominance or the day's shame? That darkness is the face of earth and tomb, when living light should kiss it. So look at the imagery. I feel Eliot's wasteland is brought to mind here. The modern dystopia is brought to mind here. So here is Shakespeare becoming an existentialist, becoming a modernist before those movements even came into being. The very land is stripped of its glory with Duncan gone, Duncan murdered. The usage of words like earth entomb is like a tomb. So all that is good, all that is light, all that is day has been buried under the grief and the darkness. Old man, 'tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done on Tuesday last. A falcon towering in her pride of place was by a mousing owl hawked and killed. So now the old man says, definitely unnatural things have been happening. It is so unnatural that a mighty great king like Duncan, right under the roof of his most worthy, loyal thane, is just murdered. And that too, supposedly by two guards, two of his own chamberlains. How unnatural is this? And he says that yes, unnatural acts have been happening. Recently, a falcon towering in her pride was by an owl killed. This owl which is considered quite inferior to the falcon, has in fact killed the falcon. So these are the sort of things that are happening. The world has gone topsy turvy. Ross. And Duncan's horses, a thing more strange and certain, beauteous and swift, the minions of their race. So Duncan's horses, they are the very minions, they are the best of their race. They are so beautiful, so graceful and strong in form. And what have they done? Turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out contending against obedience, as they would make war with mankind. They rushed out of the stables, they broke open the stalls in which they were kept, the royal stables, and they became so disobedient as if they wanted to create a war with mankind itself. So the horses also seem to know that their master is no more, and they have become furious. The old man, 'tis said, they eat each other. So the old man now says, it is said that they even ate each other. Imagine the horses have eaten each other. So the very natural order of life is disrupted. It is not the natural prey or the natural victim for the lion kills the deer. No, here it is the owl that is killing the falcon. It's the horses that are eating each other. This is all against nature. So these are the happenings now. Ross, they did so to the amazement of mine eyes that looked upon it. Here comes the good Macbeth. Indeed, that is very true, my dear sir. Those horses ate each other, and I too am a witness to these unnatural happenings. So here comes good Macbeth. Enter Macbeth. How goes the world, sir, now? So Macbeth is asking, what's going on now? Macbeth, why see you not? Ross, is it known who did this more than bloody deed? So is it really known who has done this morbid deed, this killing, this unnatural murder? Macbeth, those that Macbeth has slain. So the guards, he says that those people whom Macbeth has slain, they are the killers of our good king. So these very two lines shows us that Ross and Macbeth both are doubting their own words. So he does not say that the guards killed Duncan. Instead, he says those people whom Macbeth has slain. So this makes you wonder, does he suspect Macbeth? Does he think that, Macbeth has something to do with this murder? Even Ross, the way he too asks the question, so there is an air of suspicion, even though there is no evidence marking that Macbeth has done the deed. Ross, alas the day, what good could they pretend? Again, Ross says, why would those people kill Duncan? What is the point of such a murder? What are they going to attain by killing the king who has been their master and lord, who has fed them and clothed them? What would they get out of this? Macbeth, they were stubborn. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's two sons, are stolen away and fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed. So when Ross asks what was the purpose behind the guards killing Duncan, Macduff answers that it is said that they were, bribed by Donalbain and Malcolm, the king's two sons. They wanted to kill the king, and they are the ones who paid the guards to kill him. But see that Macduff, in every line, you can see how doubt is creeping in. The way he's not saying that they did it, he rather says, are stolen away. The fact that they have fled Scotland, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed. This makes them look suspicious. He is not saying that they are the true killers, but rather he is trying to say that this is how the public is viewing it, or this is how it is given to understand, which here we understand that slowly Macduff is doubting. Is it all the truth that is before him, or does he need to learn more, investigate more? Ross, against nature still. Ross continues, everything seems to be against nature. Thriftless ambition that will raven up. Thine own life's means, then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth. So he says, what thriftless, foolish ambition. For anyways, they are going to be his heirs. Anyways, after the king, definitely his son would be the king. What was the need of this thriftless, unnecessary greed that they needed to kill their father? I believe that now the sovereignty, since they both have fled, it's going to land on Macbeth. Macbeth is going to be the king. So Macduff very evenly he replies, he is already named and gone to Scone to be invested. So he has already gone to Scone, that is the place where the kings are, crowned, named, and the whole crowning ceremony is going to happen. So he's already gone to claim his crown. Ross, where is Duncan's body? Macduff, carry to Conkill, the sacred storehouse of his predecessors and guardian of their bones. Duncan's body has been carried back to that royal cemetery, that is Conkill. That these kind of words it can come for you for your multiple choice questions. So Duncan has been taken away where his forefathers are buried, and he too is going to be buried with all the pomp and ceremony that he deserves. Ross, will you to Scone? So will you also go there? Macduff, no cousin, I will to Fife. No, my dear cousin, I have to go back to my own place, to my wife and child, to my wherever he is, that is Fife. So he is a Thane, we know, of a particular place. Ross, well, I will thither. Macduff, well, may you see things well done there, adieu. Let our old robe sit easier than our new. So you may please go and see the royal ceremony and be there, and let us both hope, and let us they are both wishing that their old robes and their new robes will be of equal comfort. That is to say, that their role in the old government, that is, as the Thanes, the loyal Thanes of Duncan, they hope that the same fame and love they will witness in the reign of Macbeth. So now you see a lot of doubts are cast around. They are wondering, is he going to be a good, kind king like Duncan? Ross, farewell, father, old man, God's benison go with you, and with those that would make good of bad and friends of foes. So he says, let God's blessings be with you. They are all, let God's blessings be on every man who brings good even out of evil, and who in the unnatural, horrible times still aspires to be good. So throughout this chapter, we see that the doubts are coming up, and the Thanes are all now doubting whether Macbeth had a role to play in the death of Duncan, even though they are not speaking out against it. Now we also see how Macbeth's overvaulting ambition makes him hasten to gain the throne and the crown. So again we come back to the toxic masculinity, in which he seems to want to prove all the time, he seems to want to prove to Lady Macbeth that he will gain that title and she will be called the queen. Thank you.